Hi folks, I promised you a second video and here it is. So it's a little bit after 3 o'clock. It is 11:24:15. Welcome to Tuesday. And I can tell it's already kind of chilling down a bit out here. So it's about 45 degrees, give or take a foot and a half. 6.7, 20% humidity. Yeah, nice dry day. Good day for working outside. Even though it went over 40 here in the shade, things did not melt. So anything in the shade is didn't melt. Baja Warrior with a replacement Hound engine. I was whining and complaining that I didn't think this thing was running as good as it should run for a brand new engine. So I was kind of looking it over and messing with it, and I figured out exactly what was wrong with the engine. Some moron forgot to tighten the bolts. And seeing I was the moron who had to take that off to get the throttle on there, that moron would be me. I didn't tighten these two bolts. They were loose. So now that they're tight, a little choke, right? Let it run out of gas. I find the carburetors last much longer that way. Especially the carbs made in China, it seems that they the gas is more corrosive for them for some reason. Obviously, I'm making the base for what's going to be this shed. No, a hurricane didn't do that. Unless you consider my attention deficit a hurricane. If you do, then a hurricane did do it. No, it was me. So I had to get it out of the way so I can build the base. I didn't want to build the base a mile away because by the time you put all these pressure treateds in and so forth, it becomes pretty heavy. So yeah, building the base, trying to get my act together. I'm very careful with the dimensions. These are a little over 12 foot long, like 12 foot and a half inch. Got a little extra half inch on it. And if you then add to it another 3 inches here on both sides, right? And then you want to put 3 pieces of plywood across it, and each piece of plywood is exactly 48 inches, you'll end up short. So, you know, cutting little blocks off and paying attention to the measurements. Like even these have an extra, 3/4 of an inch. So I measured, and I got to be very careful about ending here. It doesn't matter if this sticks out a little bit, but I have to end there for plywood purposes. You know, put the last beam a little off from the end for plywood purposes. Very careful to make sure that, given that it's 12 foot, right, I want the 8 foot to end right on the center of a 2x4, so I only have to go another 4 foot off to the side. Little things you gotta kind of pay attention to, or you get burnt. So I messed with that a little bit. I have a work party. I don't know if I mentioned it in one of the other videos. I got a few friends coming over. Well, some piano students of my wife's, 2 young men, and signalman James coming over to give me a hand working on some of this stuff. Obviously, once I get this built, I'm not going to just be able to flip it over myself, or if I do manage to flip it over myself without killing myself, even if I do manage to do that, the slam when it hits the ground will break things loose. So even with that though, I think this is not, it's not bad. I mean, it's kind of counterbalanced by being cantilevered, but even with that, it's not horrible heavy. Well, let me take that back. It's probably at least a couple 100 pounds. I'm not going to have the plywood on it, so that'll save me a little bit of weight. Yeah, yesterday was rough, between the frustrations of the day, and I went to move this thing, and this is really slippery, believe it or not, and I took a spill, gashed up the old leg, so that sucked. I got a nasty paper cut on my thumb from the tape measure when it was rolling back in. So that's it was like yesterday was one of those days. I had this thing out, I put the throttle on it, and it wasn't running worth a hoot. I didn't find until today that my problem was here. Even now though, the throttle has a tendency to be sticky. So I got to replace the cable. If I make the mistake of letting one of my sons ride it, and I don't mention that the throttle sticks, I'll end up with a damaged son, a trip to the emergency room, a whole load of grief from the wife, and an wrecked bike. So I just gotta fix the throttle. My older age, I'm beginning to give up the assumption that, I'm only going to be the one riding these things. Eventually my sons will be riding them. See what I mean? That's frozen. It hardly defrosted. Even this down here, right? It's, not really defrosted. Oh, and here's the throttle cable that I'm going to use. Yeah, that'll get the Baja Warrior finished. I should put the cover on the torque converter. I really should. But I have to admit that I kind of like watching it when I'm winding it up, watching the belt climb out to large. It goes to a larger diameter when you're on the engine side of the belt as you're flying down the driveway. From a torque and speed point of view, the gear ratio I think was fixed at a 2-to-1 when it had this centrifugal clutch on it. You can see coming out of the hole, that's got to be kind of a 5-to-1. Right, that's really pretty small in there. Right, and then you can see it's pretty big on that side. Let me put this up here so I don't lose it. I end up losing it anyway. So coming out of the hole with that 5-to-1, she's pretty wicked quick, and then winding up, the belt's all the way just about out of the pulley. It's way up there, and it's in a ways. So wide open, it's got a little better than a 1-to-1 ratio. So coming out of the hole, the 5-to-1, you could pick up the front wheel, and going wide open, it's better than a 1-to-1. So that would make it probably almost twice as fast as a stock Baja Warrior. So I do recommend this torque converter conversion. It probably, depending on if you had the engine replaced, which means you won't run into the bolt problems I ran into. If you already had the engine replaced, torque converter, I don't know, $150 plus or minus $25 eBay. If you got the stock engine, problem is you got that threaded nose on there. I don't know, you got to kind of cut that off and drill it and put a bolt in it, and this little stepped washer, spacer, whatever, to get it on there, or you got to change the engine, throw a $99 Predator on there. But if you find one with a blown engine, assuming the tires are good and all, because the tires will set you back, but assuming the tires are good, you get one with a blown engine, you make the $300 worth of investment, but just swag it. You make the $300 investment, you got a nice bike. It reminds me a lot of the old Rupp Roadster. Had one of those. I'm sorry I ever got rid of it. Loved the bike. The reason why I got rid of it, I crashed it a few times, so I had to stop doing that, and I figured the best way to get rid of to do that was to get rid of it. The nice thing is, this is a longer bike than the Rupp. The Rupp had front and back suspension. It was more compact. It's a little lighter than this one. The tires were a little narrower. But this guy floats along pretty good. I would not jump this bike. I mean, I'm thinking stuff would start to break pretty quickly, so I wouldn't jump her. But from a just, lean back, take a ride, it's a true joy. I like it. I like the torque converter. I'm very, very happy with it. I was rip roaring about on it just before the videos. I think that's all I have to talk about. I think so. As soon as I turn off the camera, I'll remember something else. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please do ask, and I'll do my best to answer them, assuming that they're not too personal. So I guess that's it. Folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up. And folks, please get out there and enjoy all your days. I'm always saying it because it's true. You don't know how many you're going to get, so get out there and have some fun. It's easy to think, oh, well, I got tomorrow, or, as soon as I get a promotion, or as soon as I finish this class in school. Do your schoolwork, do what you need to do to get promoted, but also get out there and have some fun. If you don't have it, before you know it, you get too old to have fun. Well, not that you get too old, your body gets old. Tree I gotta cut down. Work, work, work. The word is nothing but work. But it's also fun. I had a blast rip riding around on that bike, that's for sure. Okay, folks, once again, thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. Feet down, head up, and get out there and have some fun. Bye now.